I recognize that everything you've said so far is about cultivating the energy from which you want to create, the energy of love, of service, of creativity.
That was when I started to learn more of how to actually go dive into negative feelings, which I really don't believe anymore that there's negative or positive feelings.
Right.
There's just feelings,
Yeah.
and to dive into them and to feel them.
Hey there, superstar. We're back here for part 2, chatting with LeeAnn about self-care. Now let's talk a little bit about what is in that self-care, the how. How do you take care of yourself now? What did you discover really works for you?
So it's a combo, right? Some physical, some emotional, some all of that. So I'll go through my morning routine because I feel like that helps me with a lot. It helps me get my mind in the great space. First, when I wake up, I have lemon water. It's rehydrating, good for your liver. Then I meditate. By the way.
Yeah, ready for it? Wait for it.
Today happened to be my 1300th day in a row of meditation.
Yeah, I remember when she made that commitment.
I did.
I was there.
You were there. Of course.
I'm there for a lot of these moments. Otherwise, they wouldn't make it into the video because nobody would say anything. She'd forget. I'm just kidding.
I would. And prior to that happening, I hadn't been able to meditate for a week.
That's right.
But I committed to doing it for 30 days.
Who would I be?
Who would I be?
Uh-huh.
Who would I be? So I meditate, then I do a gratitude journal. So I just note what I'm grateful for that morning, which often is related to like the day before, right?
Right, okay.
It kind of fuels over. Then I have a power thought card, Louise Hay power thought card that pull from there and kind of gives me the mind.
What's a power thought, LeeAnn?
Well, it will say things like, I balance my masculine and feminine sides, or I'm at peace with my age, or I'm open to receiving new avenues of income, or my home is a peaceful haven. So it's a wide variety of things.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I got to pull that as a little bit of a reminder for the day.
Okay.
Then I'll go work out, and then I come home and I shower, make my coffee, and start my Decaf, yes. And then I go sit down at my computer.
So by the time you sit down at your computer, you are feeling pretty good, right? Good. You're feeling great.
Here's the thing. I've taken care of myself physically. I've worked out.
Yeah.
I've taken care of myself mentally. I've meditated.
Yeah.
Taken care of myself spiritually by doing the gratitude practice and really tapping into that. So it's all about me first.
Yeah.
Committing to myself first before I go be in service of others. You'll notice I'm not reading emails. I'm not checking my phone. I'm not texting anyone.
That's right.
I'm not letting any of the outside world come into that part of my morning.
Sacred space for you.
So I get fueled. And then I can go do that. And then
you've got so much more to give. The Rumi quote, never give from the depths of your well, but from your overflow.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm creating my overflow first. So that's what it looks like every morning.
In the morning.
And every night I do, I also read a little bit before bed so that I'm very careful about what, comes in.
Yeah.
I'm careful about that throughout the day. I don't watch the news. I don't, I'm very careful with, I still have a few sources so I know what's happening in the world.
Right. But you're discerning about what permeates your boundary.
Yes. Discerning about what I watch in terms of like, on Netflix or Hulu or whatever. I'm very careful about that. Even the conversations that I have, I will. I've gotten out of some group chats.
Yes,
and I will.
Me too. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because if they're too like
contentious, dramatic, like whatever.
It's like I don't have space for that. So, and then at the end of the day, I do my top 3 favorite moments of the day, and that's just like a nice reflection. And sometimes they're silly, like that was the best chocolate chip cupcake or cookie or whatever. And sometimes they're like, hey, I spent the day with Michelle.
Yay, recording videos for you too.
Yeah. So that puts me in a nice capper. So I'm, again, intentional about what's going in, especially right before I go to sleep.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then I want to also, something that struck me as you were speaking, I recognize that everything you've said so far is about cultivating the energy from which you want to create, the energy of love, of service, of creativity, and nothing is all rainbows and unicorns. And one of the things that I've seen you take on in the last couple of years, especially, I'd say, is like going into the darker stuff the stuff that's not quite so lovely and beautiful.
So yeah, so we've talked about like the kind of the bookend and like the day-to-day, and this is the other huge piece, which is when something happens, because
it always happens. Something always happens.
Life. If nothing is happening, then you're
dead.
Right.
We know.
Exactly.
It's better than the alternative, right?
Yeah. So when something happens, whereas I used to say like, I don't want to put too much energy into that.
That's right. It was almost an avoidance.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. But with the nuance, the new
that's so spiritual that I don't want to go to this negative places.
Right. And negativity in my field.
Right. And instead.
Yeah. What happens is it's still swirling around.
It's there.
It comes back.
It's there.
Really interesting. I don't know if I don't know if I've told you this the other day, but I had a remembrance. I had a memory of just a few years ago, like something silly happened, like the cable went out or whatever, like my internet went down. I went to call the cable company to find out about it, and I was angry, and it was like right there, and I remember thinking like, why am I this angry about this?
Yeah,
like, this is not. It's annoying, frustrating. But wow, where did
that was a very strong reaction.
Yeah. And then it was like, oh, because there's more bubbling up under here, and that was when I started to learn more of how to actually go dive into negative feelings, which I really don't believe anymore that there's negative or positive feelings. There's just feelings, and to dive into them and to feel them, to actually feel them, and
revel in them even.
Yes, cry, scream into a pillow, hit things. I've got a damn it doll at home.
You got a damn it doll.
Have you ever heard of these?
No.
It's this little stuffed doll, and you can just beat it on things. It's amazing. It's like a little
so
rag
you do
doll.
Alchemy with a rag doll.
Yeah. It's great. And so I've learned how to go into those and to feel it. And then here, guess what? You know this. First of all, there's not that bubbling under thing that might come out with the slightest tweak, And I have a process for when something does trigger me, bother me, whatever word you want to use, and I can go through, and I'm on the other side in no time.
Yeah. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. If you're watching this channel and you've been watching it in the past, alchemy, transmutation, feel the feelings, dive into the discomfort, all that. Is so powerful. Thank you, LeeAnn. And so if anyone wants to learn more about your no regrets formula, how to live a life with no regrets, how to take care of yourself with no regrets, how do they find out about you?
Just go to noregretsformula.com.
That's it. Simple. Easy breezy. Noregretsformula.com.
And what it can look like in real life, in practical, is, are there certain ways that people can interact with you? If someone were to come to me and be screaming and yelling at me, I'm not going to have a conversation with them.
Right.
Because I have a standard.
That's right.
And I have a standard and a boundary, right? I don't yell at others. I don't scream. I do my alchemy alone with my damn it doll.
Yes.
And, yelling in the towel. I get it out, for sure.
Yeah, you
but
do.
Not onto another person.
Right.
And so if someone comes at me with that energy, I say, I hear you. I know where you're at. And do your thing. We'll come back, and then we'll have a conversation where we can have an actual conversation around it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it looks like in the practice of life.
Ooh, I love it. That's so good.